Anyway, so full moon and the portion of Ki-Tetze, Ki-Tetze is a very, very unique parasha that revealing a lot of secrets. Sometimes when you read the Torah, you read the simple story. Something is a nice story when you read about, Joseph and Jacob and Abraham. Not always easy to understand, because obviously we don't understand the Torah just the way it is. Everything has a secret, but you can relate. It's more humane stuff that happening. But in the portion of Ki-Tetze, the rules, there's 74 precepts, which is the majority of the precepts are in this portion of Ki-Tetze, but the stories are weird. Like you should go for a war and you're going to see a beautiful woman and you want to take her. You don't ask her, you just take her. And you put her in your house and she has to cut her nail and shave her head and mourn for her family. Or another story, if you have two wives, one that you love and one that you hate. Weird stories about that. And the weirdest story is about if you have a son and he's not doing, or he's rebelling or he's doing something that is not right, you have to take him to the old people of the city, and they can find him guilty, and then they all put him in the gate of the gate of the city, and his parents are gonna stone him to death, and the people of the city will stone him to death just because he was rebel. So weird stuff. And I even read in the Midrash that about the son, that was stoned. Moses asked the Creator, "Do you really want me to write it? Can't you find another story? Why do you want me to tell it in that story?" And the Creator said, "Just do as I'm asking you. You need to do that." And obviously, if you read the Zohar, we understand that the woman is a soul, and the man is us humanity, and the father and the mother and the parents are really the creator in the Shekhinah. So it's everything in this portion is extremely, extremely deep. It's full of secrets. It's, how do we connect to something deeper than what we see at the outside? Because the outside today looks exactly like this parasha. It's crazy. We have earthquakes and we have revolutions, and we have murders, and we have diseases, and we have fires, and it looks just like that, like crazy, like a boy, a teenager that is being stoned by his parents. Doesn't make any sense. We cannot make sense of this reality. It's too harsh. It's a lot of pressure, and the universe is reacting to us human being. And Uranus is going to go retrograde. He's going today, I think, retrograde. And it's stationary. First, like we explained last parasha, first of all, the planet has to slow down and then stop and then go backwards. And Uranus is a planet of future. We talked about Uranus so many times because Uranus is the planet that rules Aquarius. We had a great conjunction in Aquarius. We have Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. We have Uranus square Saturn all year around. It's old and the new and things that we're always talking about. And here we're talking again about Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is the surviving mode. It's like, I have to be safe no matter what. I can give up my Taurus. It's like, I don't care if I give up my values. I don't care if I need to lie a little bit, but I have to be safe. Versus Uranus says, no, you know your values, know who you are. Don't fall into this. And then just, when Uranus is going to go backwards right now, it's going to go retrograde. It's going to be time to evaluate. Every time a planet go retrograde, we have to whatever the planet is doing. Like if Uranus is revolution, is the future, is like, how do we move forward, is consciousness. We have to rewind everything. Where is my consciousness? Am I in the right place? What did I want in the future? Am I on my way to achieve it? Well, Uranus is also, it's a higher octave of Mercury. So if Mercury is in retrograde, we have issues with communication and traffic and computers. Uranus will do the same, but when Uranus goes retrograde, it's not for 3 weeks, it's maybe for 3 months. So that's a long time of it. And so we need to pay attention to social, how do you say this? Social media, like that. Not to fall too much into social media, to really check every fact, not to listen to everything you hear, not to believe everything you see. So really to come to a place of, Uranus is a higher level of consciousness. So how do I really raise myself, like with every reality that I see around me right now? How do I align to this? How do I make it different? How do I connect to Uranus is a sign of society, of a community. How do I connect to my community? Now, remember that the sun and the moon, they're opposite because it's full moon. And the sun is in Leo. It's a 29-degree Leo. It means the moon is in 29-degree Aquarius. And in astrology, 29-degree, it's a critical degree. It's just before the planet goes into another sign. So even in your birth chart, if you have any planets with 29-degree, it means it's a critical point that you must do it. If a person has, I don't know, for example, Venus is in Libra now. Like if Venus is in Libra now, and it's going to be 29-degree, it means if in your chart, for example, is 29-degree, it means it's time to work on relationship. You have to work in this lifetime. You need to solve whatever issues you have with relationship because it's time to move forward. And I don't like to talk with threats, but sometimes astrologers say that it's the last chance. You're gonna work about relationship. 29-degree, you need to work it out because we're not sure how much more chances you will have later on. So when we have the sun and the moon 29-degree, Leo and Aquarius, is how do we find courage? Leo is who we are. Leo is our self-esteem, our self-expression, our self-talent, our power, courage. How do we find courage? How do we find courage within ourselves? And Aquarius is the other people, the society. To understand that society needs to be made with people that are strong. Because if people are not strong and they let society take care over, we're alone. Let's go to communism, of like, let's have a leader that will control us and that's it. We want to make a difference, let's make a difference. But we cannot make a difference yelling and screaming for no reason without knowing where we're coming from, without knowing who we are, what are our values, to bring ourselves to a place that we are strong, that we are meaningful, that we are able to claim our power. So Uranus 14 degrees, right? Still not in retrograde. Is going to go tomorrow, stationary, and then tomorrow retrograde. So this weekend, there's in the portion of Ki-Tetze. Ki-Tetze, you should go for a war. You should go for a war. You should go for a war. Let's read it from the Torah just to connect to that strength of that words. Ki-Tetze למלחמה על אויביך ונתנו השם אלוקיך בידיך ושבית שביו. You should go for a war on your enemies. And the Creator will give him, and pay attention, you should go for a war for your enemies, plural. And the Creator will give it, personal, to you, and you will conquer it. And you will conquer it. Ki-Tetze למלחמה על אויביך. You should go for a war on your enemies. And the Creator will give it to you and you will conquer it. All right, so the only decision that we have to make is that we are willing to go to the war. We are willing to declare a war. We need to know what is it. And that Uranus will allow us to know, because Uranus is, is Uranus also in astrology can represent traumas. When Uranus goes retrograde, we could recognize, if we want to do that, obviously if we want to do that, it all has to start, everything is begin and end with a true desire. If you don't have a true desire, and if you want to continue to tell yourself stories, wonderful. But if we do, and if we're serious about it, all right, Uranus will allow us to reveal traumas that we had in the past. And to reveal that traumas is for us to point, to know what are the things that we are, that we are shoving into our subconscious that we are not willing to deal with. And if we are able to see those things, and if we are willing to deal with them, they'll come to the surface. They'll come to the surface. And then we will be able to clean them up. That's the war that we are willing to feel what we don't want to feel. And don't worry about it, because the moment we are willing, the Creator will already gonna do the job, and the Creator gave it to you, and you should capture Him. And why plural? Because sometimes Satan or the evil inclination, they make so much drama and so much chaos. It looks like a lot of things, a lot of things are not really going well, when the enemy is only one, and only one is a desire for the self alone. What is that desire for the self alone? It's every place, that we're feeling lack. And when we're feeling lack, the Satan, the evil inclination, they're hanging on into it. And these are the enemy, like leeches. How do you say leeches or latches? That is hanging on to you, and they're sticking all your body, and they don't want to let go, and you really have to work hard to take them out. Because that's how he's holding into that place of lack. So everything that will come out from you in that moment is desire for the self alone. Because you're not coming from a place of that Leo. From the place of like, I have the power. I don't have any lack. Everything that I want in life is because I choose, and because I want, and because I know my power, and I know my value, and I'm not giving it up, and I'm fighting for what I want. Okay? But I'm not coming from a place of lack. That's the only enemy that we have. That Satan, that evil, is always going to hang on where we're lacking. So where are we lacking? And why are we lacking it? We're lacking it because we have traumas from the past. We're lacking it because we already been through experiences that we don't want to experience before, because we're running away from it. But all we have to do is to say, I know I have those, and I'm willing to reveal it from the inside. I'm willing to go, and we talked about it last week. And we talked about it last year. I was looking at my class in last year, and it was all about revealing that pain again. I'm not going to repeat it because we talked about it last week. But it's all what we feel right now. Look at all the chaos that we have around us. Find power within, the Leo within, so you can share it with others. Find that courage. Use Uranus going retrograde, and to find it out. And what I was looking at the chart is because that Uranus has a trine to Mercury and Mars. Okay, now Mercury and Mars at the moment are in, they're conjunct, they're together. They're working together. Mercury is a thought process. It's about all the things that I want, in life, and I'm organized about it. Let me organize all the things that I want, all the goals I want. We're in the month of Elul. We talked about it. We want to make some goals. Let's think about it. Let's make a list. Let's be organized about it. Let's think about it, right? And Mars is action. So they both come together. Okay, they both come together, and it's like, okay, let me think about it and let me act on it immediately, and like not even waiting. One step at a time, obviously. We have to take the time, but let me act on it. And in that level, it's good that they're together because they're in Virgo, and it's time to think about it and to act it, and it's really time for manifestation at the moment. It's time that if you that's why I'm always asking, check your desire. If you really want something, this is the time to start act on it. On the other hand, Mars in Virgo and Mercury in Virgo is very perfectionist. Mars and Virgo are very perfectionist. They demand perfection, and Mercury is also, he wants everything perfect. So now that we think that the time of Elul, and there are certain things that we need to do, we feel that we need to perfect it. We don't need to perfect anything, because if we only can do the best we can. Because if we start to go into the small details and get edgy or rigid about it, right? Then it's not going to serve the purpose, because then self-judgment and I said I'm going to do it and I'm not doing it, and the energy is available right now and I still couldn't do it, and I was like, that's the enemies, that's the enemies, like so much voice, so much voices that can scream. I mean, the voices in us are screaming right now anyway, that Uranus is square Saturn, and that there's so many voices in us that wants to come out, and we want to listen to those voices, but not to the negative one. Okay, use that Virgo for manifestation. Don't use that Virgo for self-judgment and anger, because that can come too. All right? So I was talking about Mercury and Mars that are... they're trying Uranus. Okay, so Uranus in Taurus. Trying is a positive aspect. It means that they were good together. They were good together. So if Mercury and Mars can manifest things, and it's time for action, imagine where it can come from. It comes from a place of truth. That Uranus, that is in Taurus right now, and Uranus in Taurus doesn't want to be attached. Doesn't want to be needy. Uranus in Taurus wants to break through all the neediness, the surviving mode. It's connected to something so much higher. So if we are allowing ourselves to go through the traumas and to go to things that happen to us and willing to heal it, it's a great time for healing. Great time for healing. The universe is changing. Everything is changing. Uranus is not a personal planet. Uranus is a worldly planet. Okay, when we are asking about our own freedom, it will be also for countries and for states. States would like to have their own freedoms. Communities would like to have their own freedoms as a whole. The earth wants to have her own freedom. Like, it's a time of liberation, okay? And we always heard from the Karen, we always heard from the Kabbalists, that we are the one who will affect nature. We are the one that will affect earthquakes and tsunamis and fires. And you can see that nature disaster always happened, but lately there's so many of them. Because, us as human beings, that's why we're talking about claim your power, not because we want to be selfish, because we really want to create a strong individuals, to create strong society. And the strong individual doesn't mean that I'm right and you're not, or what I think it's better than what you think. There is so many, in the Torah, I just saw only a few of them, that it says about, he's talking about brothers. If you see the ox shore, or the cow, it's the male of the Taurus, right? If you see the ox of your brother, then you should bring it back to him, to your brother. Okay, there's so many, your brother. If you really read the Torah, where is it? Torah, the Mikra. Here, I marked all of them. And your brother. And if you're not close to your brother and you don't know him, and you should take him into your home and you should be with him because he's your brother. So you can see a lot in this portion of Ki-Tetze, that everyone you helped, every time you see someone in need, It doesn't say, it always says, is your brother, is your brother, is your brother, bring him in, bring him back, all those rules of brother. You're never going to hate because he's your brother. And you're never, it's so many rules here, and they all mention brothers. So there's two things that it's mentioning: brothers and friends. Okay, so if it's not your brother, is your friend. So you see that the Torah is always reminding us that we are all brothers and we are all friends and we are all one. All right? So if you read in this portion, it's all about brotherhood and friendship. Okay, and all the rules, we said rules of the Torah, but the rules, let's take 3 rules, for example. Okay, so one of them, לא תראה שור אחיך או את צב נידחים והתעלמת מהם, השב תשיבם לאחיך. וכן תעשה לחמורו, וכן תעשה לשמלתו, וכן תעשה לכל אבדת אחיך, אשר תאבד ממנו ומצאתה לא תוכל להתעלם. When you're going to see the ox of your brother, or another animal of him, and you're going to see this cow outside, and it belongs to your brother, you have to take them and return it to your brother. You see, again, brother again. And you're going to do the same with his donkey. And you're going to do the same with his dress. If you're going to see a piece of dress, I guess, fly from the laundry. And everything that your brother is losing, if you're going to see something that your brother lost, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 times brother, in one sentence, that you're going to see anything that your brother lost, you have to bring it back to him. You would never be able to ignore. Lot tuchal להתעלם. It's in the Torah. Never ignore it. Okay? And Rashi is saying, Lot tuchal להתעלם, you can never ignore it. He says, you cannot close your eyes and pretend that you did not see it. Okay, so obviously we're talking about physical things here, right? Like if you see that your brother lost something, or if you see something, you see a ring, you went on the floor and you saw that someone lost an expensive ring, you're going to say, oh, I don't know what this belongs to, I'll take it. No, you cannot ignore it. You have to do everything in your power to return it. It's called Chok Hashavat Aveda, the law of returning a lost thing, okay? But how Rashi said you cannot ignore it. And the Zohar and the Rav explain that we're not only talking about physical things, but if you see a brother, obviously it doesn't have to be a physical brother, if you see a brother or a friend of yours or someone close to you or not even close to you that lost himself, that doesn't know what to do, that feels that is not in the right path, that is not spiritual. I was saying that if you see people that are not spiritual, you know that they're really lost in the way. So try to bring them closer. Try to make them spiritual. Don't save them. Just feel that you cannot ignore. We cannot ignore that people around us are suffering. We cannot ignore it. If someone push my buttons right now, and people push buttons today because we are all in a very intense time, that we have to deal with our emotions. All the emotions are coming to the surface, all the traumas, because we want to know how to handle it. So it's easy for people to push our buttons at the moment. But remember at all time that someone push our buttons because their button is being pushed as well. They're feeling lost. They're feeling pain. They're pushing our buttons because they don't know what to do with themselves at the moment. Because, every time we feel sad for ourselves, we feel that it's okay to hurt someone else. But if we really, I'm looking at people around me, and people that I love push my buttons, and none of the people around me, and I'm sure none of the people around you are evil people. Nobody here wants to hurt someone because they want to hurt someone. Everybody hurts someone because they're feeling pain themselves. Because they don't know how to handle situation themselves. And if we stop thinking about the pain and be the Leo that came, be strong, not be so protective and so so weak, and have the courage to look at someone else and to see, that person, yes, he pushed my button. Yes, I'm hurt at the moment, but the person pushed my buttons because they hurt. And if I'm able to see that the person around me, next to me, is my brother and he's lost, and I want to bring him back, if I don't think only about myself, if I don't think only about how I get hurt, this is the desire for the self-alone. This is the only war that we want to go. That how I'm not feeling sorry for myself, how I'm not feeling the lack. Someone pushed my button, yeah, I get hurt. Let me feel the pain, let me get over it, and let me try to look outside of myself at the other person and see where do they stand. And by the way, Venus is in Libra, okay? Sorry. So Venus in Libra. Venus is a planet of love. Libra is a sign of love. So the universe is not going to, just ask us to go for a war without giving us the gift of love, of true relationship, of true friendship. So if we really want to connect to true friends, and where we connect to true friends, people look at us as true friends. It's always a two-way street. So let's create that energy of love, of great relationship, of talking to each other, communicating, having deep conversation. It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. That bond, that love, that relationship is beautiful. So, every time we need to go through something, we need to go for a war. Remember, go for the war. That's all we need to do. Go for the war, and the Creator will give it to us in our hand, and we're going to capture it. And one more thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, this is also the portion of Zachor. It's the Haftarah of Zachor. Zachor et Zecher Amalek, and you should remember the seed of Amalek. We read that portion in Purim when we want to get rid of doubts. And what we read in Purim is from this portion of Ki-Tetze. The portion of Ki-Tetze is Zachor et Zecher Amalek. It's all about removing the doubts. When I remove the doubts, is our only enemy. The doubt is the desire for the self alone that come from lack. I don't have the certainty that everything is going to be fine. So I'm living in that lack. And everything I do is reflecting on that lack. This is the parasha, that we can remove the doubts, that we can connect to something real, that we connect to our power, and our power to share from a good place, from a place that I understand that on one hand I'm not doing any favor because sharing is my essence, but also that I know how to receive from others and to create that circuitry and to remove every doubt about ourselves, about others, and about justice that we don't see. Very powerful parasha, very powerful week. I really wish everyone a great luck, good luck, of finding and working on ourselves and feeling that love, and feeling not, I need to forgive, so I'm forgiving today from my brain. I forgive, I connect to something much bigger than me, and I create I make a difference.